The mythology of the tech founder relies on visionary gut feeling. Current research into venture creation suggests this leap of faith is a rigorous calculation. Data from recent academic literature identifies elite entrepreneurial decision-making as an exercise in formal Bayesian inference. This framework redefines the startup as a calibrated mechanism designed specifically to compute subjective probability. Translating this process involves mapping the scientific method onto Bayesian mathematics, validating it with data from 4,000 founders, and finding the breaking point where absolute uncertainty forces the model to evolve. Mastering this computational approach to strategy separates systematic value creation from unrepeatable luck. Stripping away the business jargon reveals the underlying math. Formulating a startup strategy mirrors the initial step of a formal Bayesian update. Their theory of value acts as a Bayesian prior, a wide subjective probability distribution. Gathering data serves as likelihood estimation. Environmental signals show how reality aligns with theory. Evaluating this evidence generates a posterior distribution. The curve narrows as beliefs refine. This structural mapping requires founders to quantify their assumptions. This quantitative discipline moves the focus from hoping a pitch is correct to running an algorithm to find out. Researchers have codified this math into an operational workflow, a flowchart that turns abstract probability into a daily startup protocol. This framework links theory and hypothesis directly to the mathematical prior, P of mu. Evidence collection determines the theory's likelihood, expressed as P of y given mu. Evaluation formally combines these to generate the new posterior, P of mu given y. This creates a closed-loop system for continuous learning. Its accuracy depends entirely on the founder's ability to remain objective when the data contradicts their vision. Visualizing this workflow transforms ambiguous strategic choices into a trackable data science protocol. To test if this protocol improves performance, researchers conducted randomized controlled trials on the framework itself. The evidence covers over 4,000 founders across international hubs, including London, Turin, and Shanghai, to eliminate regional bias. The data revealed a significant behavioral divergence in how founders approach project termination. This graph illustrates the survival of startup projects. Founders trained in the scientific approach are 9.8 percentage points more likely to terminate unpromising projects. They also terminate these failing projects an average of 2.7 weeks earlier. Bayesian training forces founders to actively adjust expectations downward when they receive negative signals, bypassing the typical sunk cost fallacy. Earlier termination represents the optimal output of a learning algorithm identifying a false positive. The trials also tracked a shift in how firms execute strategic pivots. Scientific founders execute fewer total pivots, but the changes they do make are significantly more radical and targeted. By employing methodic doubt, they only abandon ideas that are consistently invalidated, which prevents the aimless trial and error that drains startup capital. This chart measures the ultimate economic impact of this rigorous updating process on revenue generation. Scientifically trained startups in the top quartile earned €28,000 more than control firms. For the top 5%, that delta rises to €492,000. Founders using this method often return to the drawing board. They trade short-term speed for a refined long-term trajectory by reconsidering macro choices before committing. Disciplined Bayesian learning directly correlates to increased capital efficiency and terminal revenue. There is a theoretical limit to this framework, first identified in the academic critique by researchers Ehrig and Foss. They point to Knightian uncertainty, unknown unknowns that exist entirely outside a founder's initial probability space. Standard Bayesian updating fails when it encounters a state it didn't know existed. The math cannot process a variable that wasn't included in the original model. Classical Bayesianism lacks an internal mechanism to integrate realities that were unimagined in the initial theory of value. While Bayesianism is a tool for optimizing known variables, it risks failure when reality rewrites the rules of the market. Nobel laureate Herbert Simon offered a perspective that reframes these anomalies as a scientific prize. Simon asserted that the most valuable experimental outcomes are those that violently violate our expectations. Zellweger and Sanger argue that a surprise is only recognizable to those who possess a tightly structured prior. Without a rigid theory defining what is supposed to happen, anomalies are invisible. They are dismissed as mere market noise. An invalidated theory is valuable because the exact manner in which it breaks acts as a map to an unexploited market reality. This leads to the final strategic layer, an academic concept called pragmatist belief revision. Surprises require the wholesale abandonment and destruction of the broken prior. The founder must synthesize the anomaly to create a new theory that was unimaginable at the start of the venture. The elite scientific entrepreneur cycles between Bayesian updating for market refinement and belief revision for radical adaptation. Entrepreneurial mastery lies in using formal math to navigate known variables, while possessing the pragmatist courage to shatter those models when confronting the truly unknown.